Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Facebook for this live Q&A. I'm Courtney Wheeler, Student Government President here at the University of Kentucky. I'm joined today by two people who every day live and breathe the commitment to putting students at the center of everything we do here at UK. Marianne Young is the Assistant Vice President for Student and Academic Support. She has worked at the University of Kentucky since 2009 and joined the team at the Stuckert Career Center after serving as the Assistant Dean for Student Services and Success for the Gatton College of Business. Christie Maier serves as the Assistant Director of the study, UK's centralized peer tutoring service, overseeing the administration of the study's peer tutoring program. They are here to discuss the current campus impact of the virus on UK's campus, as well as our approach to supporting students as we navigate a semester that poses a lot of new challenges. Just as a reminder, we are taking questions via email. You can send those to coronavirus@uky.edu. We will be getting to these questions as time permits. We have already received several questions, so thank you to the members of our community who sent those in. Let's go ahead and jump in. The first question is for both of you, but I will start with Marianne. How do you define student success in the context of COVID-19?
I think that's a really great question. For me, it's going to really vary on each individual student. So for some of our students, that's going to be finally conquering that particular topic within math that they've been struggling with throughout the semester. For other students, it may look like keeping with some type of a regular schedule that they've set forth in terms of when they're going to study or when they're going to go to bed at night or when they're going to get up in the morning. And then for other students, it might finally being submitting that application to a selective program. But ultimately, it's having all of our students making progress towards that goal of leading a life of meaning and purpose. So I think that's really unique and individualized for each student.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Marianne hit the nail on the head with that. I think a big part of student success is also, this year more than ever, communication and making sure that they're staying connected with their advisor, with their instructor, with friends, and being a good self-advocate, recognizing when they might need additional support and asking for that or seeking that out.
That's awesome. So we're going to hop on to the next question. And this one is for Christie. What advice do you have for students who are preparing for midterms in this new academic environment?
Yeah, I think, while it looks and feels a lot different to prepare for exams and what they're actually doing to take them, a lot of the same things still apply. Having a set routine of how a student wants to study and prepare, setting aside the time necessary. And we always talk to students about having a good way of self-monitoring. How well do you know this content? We're having a rating system of some sort. Yes, I totally feel comfortable. I could teach this to someone else, or I'm really not sure, I need to spend more time with that. All those same good study strategies still apply. I think the big thing that makes students feel uncomfortable is if they have to take an exam virtually. So figuring out and trying it before you get there. Where are you going to take the exam? Do you have a good internet connection? If you're doing a lockdown browser, testing all of that out to alleviate that anxiety, because taking exams can be very stressful, and if you can alleviate that part of it before you ever get there, it will be a huge help.
For sure. I know as a senior myself, this semester has been a much more challenging semester of that virtual world of learning how to be in a quiet environment when you're used to being in that quiet environment and those lecture halls, and taking an exam and it's only you now, because many times you were in the lecture hall listening to people erase things and write things down. So that's definitely great advice. Marianne, I'm going to hop on to the next question, and this one is for you.
Sure.
How should students be thinking about internships and other kinds of experiential education right now?
So experiential education and service learning is a high impact practice. And so we know that students who participate in those activities, we reap benefits in terms of their ability to be successful after graduation and continue and persist at the institution. And so I definitely think students need to keep thinking about how they can have those opportunities. And just kind of, as Christy was saying, how, you still do many of the same things to prepare for exams. We still have many of the same opportunities for students to be able to participate in experiential education. They may not all be in person, but we have lots of virtual options. A lot of employers have switched to providing some type of a virtual option for students to participate. We have micro internships that students can engage with. And even within our nonprofit community, those nonprofit agencies have thought about how can we still, incorporate and include students with experiential education opportunities. So even though things may look different, you still have options to participate. And so for students, sometimes it can be challenging to figure out, okay, I know I still want to do this, but how do I find something? It may look a little bit different in terms of how they have found those experiential education opportunities in the past. So using your network of, if you have family, friends, or talking with your professors, talking with other students about things that they have engaged in, but then also utilizing the resources that we have here on campus. So when you think about the Stuckert Career Center, we have people dedicated to helping you be able to find those experiential opportunities. We also have services within the colleges. So there are some colleges that have career-based, college-based career service options as well. So continue to seek those out and look for them, because there are definitely still experiential education opportunities students can participate in.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see as we continue and continue in the world, and as we come out of this, what might be a new normal, might not, to see if there's even internships that never shift back to being in person. I think it provides opportunities for students to do internships in their hometown, and they're going to the University of Kentucky, or vice versa, the internships in Cincinnati, and now they don't have to travel an hour and a half, 2 days a week. So I think it's very interesting that there are so many opportunities, and I think we're going to continue to see, in my opinion, again, no factual information, but I think it'll be interesting to see if we see an increase of internships as companies realize that they can do it a virtual way, and they've seen a few companies do it, or a few businesses do it, or a few nonprofits do it, and see how it grows. So I think it'll be interesting. My time here will be done, but I think it will be interesting to see how the world kind of shifts, and those opportunities for students the door is still there.
Right.
So thank you so much. Christy, back to you.
Yeah.
What kinds of tutoring and other academic support services are available right now at UK, and how are they being delivered?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think a lot of students are a little confused or think that some of those same services aren't happening, but that is false. All of the same tutoring and academic support resources are still available. They're just delivered in a slightly different way this semester. So Transformative Learning has the study, which is drop-in peer tutoring, completely free. Students can come anytime that their course is available for tutoring. And we do have in-person this semester for tutoring. We're a little limited on physical space because we're following all of the appropriate safety and health guidelines. Everybody wears a mask. We maintain 6 feet distance. Cleaning on a regular basis is happening all the time, but they do have that in-person option if they are on campus or that's what they want to be doing. There's also virtual tutoring available this semester. It's all delivered through a platform called GoBoard, and they can look at our schedule online and get connected to tutors through our website. We also are still offering supplemental instruction, which is review sessions 3 times a week with a peer to go over challenging content and also how best to be learning that material and reviewing for that course. That information is available on Canvas. And then the biggest thing I always recommend to students is academic coaching. It is a one-on-one opportunity to meet with a trained coach to talk about their goals. What do they want to be working on? What is that personal thing that's going on with them that they need to get connected with that will help them be successful this year? Having that time set aside and working collaboratively with somebody that's tied into everything on campus is such a huge help. And students can do that in person or virtually as well. So whatever is most convenient, is easiest, makes the most sense for a student, all of those things are still available. I talked a lot about transformative learning and what we have, but colleges also have tutoring centers. They have support resources. So knowing your advisor, knowing where to get connected to all of that stuff is really important, because all of those same services are still available. They just often look different this semester.
And I know that if a student is returning or a first semester student here, they might be looking for where is this study. I know there's multiple locations. Could you maybe describe where they are?
Absolutely, yeah. So the study has 3 in-person locations across campus. The study south is actually located in Woodland Glen 3, large classroom. The study central just moved this semester, so it is located in the Hillary Jane Boone Center, right next to all that construction that's currently happening. And then the study north is in Jewel Hall, right across from the Student Center. As you can tell, they're all in locations that are hopefully very convenient and where students already are, whether they're living there, eating there, walking past there. And we're open 2 to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. So those times when students are typically doing their homework, preparing for exams, doing a lot of that academic work.
And I know you mentioned a little bit about GoBoard. Does that require? I've not heard of that. Does it require a login information? Is it pretty quick? So if a student is like, oh, my Math 123 tutoring starts at 6 p.m. It's 5:58. Would a student immediately be able to hop onto those virtual hours, or does it like an approval process? Or anything?
No, it's absolutely just like as instant as it can possibly be. So they access it through our website. They go to our schedule, and there's a link to get connected to your virtual tutor. It's a very simple process of logging in. It collects their student ID, and then we'll take them directly to the GoBoard website. We chose GoBoard primarily because it's an interactive, collaborative whiteboard that everybody can be working on and specifically designed for tutoring. So we've gotten a lot of great feedback from students that they enjoy being able to work collaboratively with their tutor on that platform.
That's really neat, and that's a great opportunity. So glad that students have that option to be able to collaborate and write on the whiteboard, especially math. I can't imagine that virtual world of math, trying to learn how to do Calc or Calc 2 over that virtual platform without being able to write. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those details. I'm going to go back to Marianne. What advice do you have for students in terms of caring for their mental health during this time?
I think the first thing is that we're talking about mental health. This has been an extremely stressful time for so many, not just students, but just, for people in general. And so giving time to think about and check in with yourself to say, am I okay? And it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to not feel okay in the moment and to reach out to resources to check in on things. I would say if we have folks that are watching today who are supporters of students, so whether that's family members or friends, checking in with each other and seeing, how are you doing? And listen for what people say and listen for what people don't say. And be okay with looking out and trying to find that connection and support during an extremely stressful time. College is a challenge when we think about how there are so many transitions and changes. And so then when you add on top of that everything else that's going on with a global pandemic, that's just a lot for people to have to process. And so, giving that time to check in with yourself daily and say, hey, how am I doing? Taking time to take care of yourself and being okay with, I'm going to step away for a moment and I'm going to do something that helps me take care of myself in this moment. And there are so many resources available for students who need to process something, need to just find connection with another person, with the counseling center, whether that's an individual session with a therapist, if it's a group session, if it's participating in the activity courses offered through one of our, the Johnson Center, for example, or a mindfulness course that's being taught on campus. There are a lot of ways for people to engage in that self-care and really take care of themselves, but it is completely okay during this time period to say, wow, this is a lot and I need to talk with somebody about that or process that. So make sure that you're checking in with yourself and checking in on your friends or your loved ones about how they're doing as well, because it is just such a stressful time at the moment.
And I know Christie had just mentioned a little bit about how they're operating. They have virtual and online opportunities, and I think it's really important, especially time of this, maybe feeling alone or isolation or quarantine, if you were exposed or are sick, not being able to see that social interaction that we're all used to. And if you're a returning student or even just a first-time freshman, this is an opportunity that coming to campus, you want to see all this interaction with social interaction, and we all urge that engagement and belonging. Right. And so I think being taken out of that setting of having to isolate or quarantine or wanting to stay at home and protect yourself, how would you encourage, is there opportunities for them to do it virtual or instead of going on campus if they have those circumstances I just described?
Yes, there are opportunities to engage in many of the different things that I talked about in a virtual way, if that's something that a student needs, and if within the counseling center, they have options that if you're back, in another state, they're there to help you get connected to those appropriate resources that are available to you if you're not within the state of Kentucky at the moment. And so there are a lot of different ways, however people want to intersect or interact with those resources, whether it's in person, attending an event where we're talking about wellness, or if it's virtually because that's what that student needs. Again, there's those multiple modalities to be able to meet whatever that need is for students.
For sure, and I think one of the most important things you said is checking in on people, whether you're a loved one, whether you're a student or a peer. I feel like this semester more than ever, if you send a text, how are you doing? Do you want to FaceTime or just calling friends is no longer like socially awkward because we do everything virtual anyways, that if you just pick up the phone and FaceTime someone, if they're in class, they'll say, hey, can't talk right now in class. But that means so much to students or to family members when they call and check on people. So I really think that's a great opportunity. And I think also talking about, that belonging and engagement piece that many students urge for, I think the platform, the BB Involved platform and the platform that has opportunities for both virtual and online in-person events. And of course, all of the in-person events are approved by EMS and are physically distant, wearing a mask. If you're not wearing a mask, obviously you will be asked to leave so that we can ensure safety. So all of those things, I really appreciate it. So what would you guys, this is for both of you, but we'll start back with Christie. What would you all say are the most important things right now for parents and families to know and to do to support their students?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think these are different and challenging times, and it is very confusing sometimes to know what all is available to a student. And so I think the best thing that a family member or a support person for a student can do is check in with them and ask them, how are you doing? What can I do to help support you? Google is kind of your best friend. If they're not sure where they can find something, helping them to navigate that and trying to get them connected. I think, again, one of the best places to start is an academic coach. Because if they're not sure what they need to be successful here, an academic coach is going to help them think through and process that. But the best thing a family member can do is be that additional support for them, checking in, trying to help them figure out what do you need to be successful here.
And I know you mentioned earlier the academic coach, and are the academic coaches in all three of the studies? How would a student go about going to an academic coach?
Getting connected to that?
Yeah.
So actually, a student can make an appointment with an academic coach through their MyUK right now. Just to learn more, I would definitely say going on to our website, uky.edu/academic coaching. That would be the best way to learn more and figure out who might be the best person to meet with. But they can do all of it through MyUK at this point to make that appointment. They happen virtually and in person, so it's really whatever is most convenient. But they do in person is at the study locations.
Awesome. And so that students know that the MyUK and then My Appointments button, or is that how they would navigate on their MyUK platform?
Yes, correct. Thank you for that clarification. MyUK and My Appointments.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. That's really helpful. Would you like to add anything, Marianne?
I mean, I think you really kind of nailed it. I mean, I think listening, it's a challenge, and so even if this is the fourth year a student has been with us, things are different, and so checking in and providing that support and that encouragement, I think is so important because just knowing that, okay, you've got this, you can do this, and reminding students that this is something they can do. It's going to be hard at times, but they have the skills and they have the ability to do it. And so I think you nailed it. So I won't go. Yeah,
it's
we're all
different. We're all in it together, and being that support person.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, my parents told me during this quarantine and when we were sent home, my mom was like, well, I have 2 brothers, and she was like, everyone's in this. We're all in this together. We're all in the same situation. So I know it seems like it's disappointing, or you're upset, or you're sad, or you're angry. That's totally okay. We're all in this together. We're all in these situations of everything's getting canceled. And so I think that there's also a great encouragement. And I know definitely that having that support, whether it's a parent, a best friend, or someone here that is a mentor to a student is really helpful. So we're going to end on a high note. What are some encouraging things you've seen on UK thus far this semester, and what gives you hope that we are going to get through this?
You go first?
I'm happy to start. I think it ties in nicely to what we were just talking about, but the level of compassion and empathy that I've seen from every level, student to student, instructor to student, co-workers, everybody seems to really understand the unique and unprecedented what is happening, and they're far more willing and able to provide some leniency, provide an accommodation, figure out what needs to happen. I think that always was there, but it's so much more emphasized and highlighted, and that really does warm my heart. Like, people genuinely care about one another and want to help and support each other and student success, and that level of connection has really shined through to me.
And I think knowing that we have world-class experts who are leading us through this, I feel so confident and comfortable knowing that we have, the best minds thinking about how we navigate this. And I also think, seeing students, in the classroom or throughout campus who are wearing their masks, who are physically distancing, who are thinking of really creative ways to manage something that seems so overwhelming. So I'm thinking of the students who were trying to think about, okay, how do we do a study group? This is going to look different. We can't just all meet. How do we do that? Oh, let's try this or that. The resiliency, I think, is just really inspiring and something that really gives me hope.
Yeah, and I know usually I'm not here to answer questions. I'm usually here to moderate, but I think some things that I've seen on campus is the students are wanting to get engaged and wanting to get involved and wanting to ask for help, whether it's tutoring or be successful, because this is unprecedented times, as we've said, since March. But I think that there's compassion, there's encouragement on all sides, and I've never seen a community as wanting to take care of each other as much as I'm seeing now. I'm seeing people who want to go to building a succulent event that maybe was hosted by student government or SAB. They want to go and watch a movie with their peers on the main lawn, or they want to go. They want that social aspect, but they understand the importance of wearing a mask the whole time, being 6 feet apart, because even though it seems so weird being 6 feet apart, we used to be so close in lines at Kroger or wherever you chose to go, but it's now we have to stay 6 feet apart to be safe. And so I really appreciate you guys' perspective as well. But we really appreciate all of you guys joining us today. And again, if you ever have any questions, you can email the coronavirus@uky.edu. And we look forward to next time.